Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be reading from Job chapter 1 verse 1 through 22. Guys, before I get started, I want to let you guys know that this will be my last video that I will be posting due to the lack of support. I have grown up to 49 unique viewers, which is good for a starter, but not enough. I haven't posted in about 2 weeks. Which as a result, my unique viewers dropped due to not posting within 2 weeks due to complications. But that's pretty much about it. I didn't want to kind of post anymore until until we can see whether or not people are going to view the videos that I already have out. But guys, write down in the comments below. Write down what you think. Should I quit? Should I keep going? Should I really make this channel or this video, or I do what I do because I enjoy what I'm doing and I enjoy reaching people. This is something I love doing, but then it gets to a point where you feel like I'm not reaching a lot of people. So even though I reach some, like 2 to 3 or 4, 49 people, I'm not really, I feel like I'm not really reaching people. I would post in the next video, just all the comments, the great comments I was getting from different people. I would be posting how many unique views I had. It's not much, but as long as I can reach one, it's good enough. But anyways, we're going to be reading from Job chapter 1, verse 1 through 22. And this will be, we'll be focusing on remaining faithful. We're going to get started. There once was a man named Job who lived in the land of Uz. He was blameless, a man of complete integrity. He feared God and stayed away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 teams of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. He was, in fact, the richest person in that entire area. Job's son would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. When these celebrations ended, sometimes after several days, Job would purify his children. He would get up early in the morning and offer a burnt offering for each of them. For Job said to himself, "Perhaps my children have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts." This was Job's regular practice. One day the members of the heavenly court came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser Satan came with them. "Where have you come from?" the Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, "I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on." Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil." Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him in his home, in his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. All right, you may test him." The Lord said to Satan, "Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically." So Satan left the Lord's presence. One day, when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's home with this news: "Your oxen were plowing, with the donkeys feeding beside them. When the Sabines raided us, they stole all the animals and killed all the farmhands. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news: "The fire of God has fallen from heaven and burnt up your sheep and all the shepherds. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, a third messenger arrived with this news. With this news: "3 bands of cauldrons raiders have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. Your sons and daughters were feasting in their oldest brother's home. Suddenly, a powerful wind swept in from the wilderness and hit the house on all sides. The house collapsed, and all your children are dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. He said, I came naked from my mother's womb, and I will be naked when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord had taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord. In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming God. So let's go back from the very beginning. Job is a man that had everything. Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 teams of oxen, 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. In fact, he was the richest person in the entire area. In fact, Job had everything he could possibly ever want. Job had no reason to cuss God. He had no reason to be angry at God. Everything came naturally to Job. Job had everything he can possibly ever want. And sometimes in our lives, when we have everything we always want and everything is perfect and everything is great, and then when hardships come around the corner and storms hit us and the waves of the seas overtake us, we begin to cuss God and we begin to get angry and ask why. We begin to blame God for these things without having faith in God and trusting Him that He has a purpose, He has a plan, and that He is trying to strengthen us and strengthen our faith instead of looking at it from a different perspective. We as human beings focus on what's going on around us without asking and pausing and asking ourselves, what are you trying to show me, God? What is it you trying to do? What is it? What is your purpose? What's going on here? And a lot of times we don't do that because we praise God during the good, but then when we fall, because we got everything handed to us, but then when everything comes crumbling down, because we're so used to everything going well, when bad things happen, we fall apart. So sometimes in our lives, we may even lose a house due to a wildfire. We may have our home to be flooded. We may lose loved ones throughout our lives. We may suffer catastrophic loss. And when we lose the things that is most important to us, like possessions, family members, and all of these different things, we begin to cuss God and ask, why is all of these things happening? What's happening? I don't understand. Why would God allow this to happen to us? Why? And a lot of times, what's going on is God is strengthening you and is trying to work on your faith in Him. But sometimes, as well as you can see in this passage, there involves Satan. And in this passage, we can see where Satan comes before the Lord, and he wants to take away everything that Job has, his possessions, his family members, everything that he possibly has. Job, remember that we just read that Job had everything. Well, Satan wants to take everything that he has. Satan believes that if he can destroy these things or take these things, he will cuss God to his face. Because remember, Job had everything he could possibly ever want. You know what I mean? Job never had a bad time. Job never experienced hardship. And so what will happen if a person never experienced hardship? Well, they sometimes when a person first experienced hardship and they never experienced hardship before, their faith is very weak. And he's saying, look, He's going to cuss you to your face. He's surely to cut you to your face. Job had everything he ever wanted. He never had hardships. Everything was magically given to him. Well, we can see later on in this passage that Job actually had faith in God through thick and thin. He had faith when he lost his children. He had faith when he lost his house. He had faith when he lost his sheep, his cattle. Everything that he had faith. For he says, Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. What did Job do during the difficult times that he was, all the struggles, everything? He worshiped God. He says, I came naked from my mother's womb, and I will be naked when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord has taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord. And Job is really saying that God gave me everything. If God can give it, God can take it away. What God gives, God can take away. And so we can see where when Satan went out to attack Job, it actually didn't work. It actually made Job a lot stronger. Job realized and knew from the very beginning who gave him his possessions, who gave it to him in the first place. Job knew that God gave it to him. And God knew, that's the wonderful thing about God, that God knows you before you're even born. We can see in this passage where God has said, we shall see. God knew that Job was going to pass this test, the first test. And he did. Job passed the very first test. He worshiped God and praised him and gave thanks to God and recognized that what God gives, he can also take away. And so, remember, guys, is that Satan, he is he, how can I put it? Satan kills, steal, and destroy. He's out. He has bad intentions. He wants the worst for God's believers. He wants people to doubt God, to stop worshiping Him, to give up on life itself, and even Jesus Christ Himself, and just to really give up. He throws all those hardships in there, and hopefully that'll be enough to turn you away from Jesus Christ. And so in this passage, you can see where Job remained faithful to him. And then later on in the story, you're going to see the wonderful, just the blessings that came, just the gifts that Job received from being faithful. Just how excited he was, how joyful he was after everything was over. I also want to inform you that just because you lose your house, you lose your cattle, everything, like you lose the things that's most important to you. And just because these things happen doesn't mean that you have done anything wrong. A lot of times when bad hardships come upon people, it is to help strengthen the faith. But a lot of times, as we can see in this passage, like I said before, sometimes Satan goes before God and he makes certain requests and God allows it. And now Satan can't do anything without God's permission, and sometimes God's allow it to prove a point to Satan. But in this case, so just because you have somehow lost everything doesn't mean you have sinned or anything like that. It's just Satan going before God, making requests, trying to somehow repeat what was going on as what we see in the book of Job. And so sometimes when it happens, like, why is this happening? Maybe you should take a step back and think about Job's story. Maybe Satan is trying to go before God about you, trying to make your life miserable, and see if he can get you to turn from God or question God, or somehow maybe turn in unbelief, or maybe be angry with God because of the things that's happening in your life, because of Satan's request, or because Satan went before God to ask to take away everything that you may have. So it's a lot of things that happens. Maybe you may get lied on about certain particular things, and you're like, well, I've never done that. No matter what the situation is, we ought to remain faithful to God, trust in God, and remember that everything that we ever have comes from God. We wouldn't be here without God. We have to trust Him through thick and thin, that He will see us through. Guys, keep in mind is that in verse 22, in Job chapter 1, verse 22, it says, "In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming God." It wasn't, in fact, God. God allowed it, but it was originally Satan. God did this to prove a point. That's why it was done. But most importantly, I think that's just mainly it. I can't see, maybe to strengthen his faith as well. But when you look at it, and it's just, it's just, you have to really look at it. It seems like God is for sure. Listen to this for a second. Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil." Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him in his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." God says, "All right, you may test him." The Lord said to Satan, "Do whatever you want with everything you possess, but don't harm him physically." So Satan left the Lord's presence, and it's amazing to know. It's just, I've never seen how Satan can actually be in the presence of the Lord. I don't know. I got to do a little bit of research and studying on that. I just, Satan was cast out, and it just seems like he can still be able to have access to God and still be able to speak to God on a certain level. So that is, wow, that's some big stuff. But anyway, guys, I don't want to kind of bore my audience. The whole moral of the story was just pretty much Job had everything he wanted. Satan comes along and see what Job has. He looks at all of his possessions. Satan takes interest in Job. Satan wants Job to forget God, give up on God, cuss God to his face, and Satan wants everything he has. And we can see where he goes before the Lord and try to make a request to take everything from Job, even his life, possibly. But then God says, "You can take everything from him, but don't take his life. Don't harm him. Don't harm a single head on his hair, or other way." So he goes around, he destroys everything. We have these 3 or 4, 5 messengers, I think it's 4 or 5 messengers, comes before Job and tells him how each thing is falling apart one by one. And Job is hearing all of this bad news, and in the midst of all of it, of everything that's taking place, he falls down, he worships God, and he recognizes that what God gives, he can take away. And so, the midst of all this struggle, midst of all this, Satan is really, we can see where Satan has really, is angry, he's upset, he didn't win. And so later we're going to see Job's second test. Satan is not finished with Job yet. He's still frustrated. He wants to take a second crack at it. And so Job is not done. We can see where Job is really persistent. So we can also see in chapter 2 of Job, chapter 2, beginning of verse 1, we can see where he's still persistent. He's not going to give up. He's going to keep attacking Job until he loses his mind. And so right now, guys, that is it for chapter 1. And guys, I don't know what you want me to do, whether I should quit, whether I should keep going. This was a great story. Guys, I encourage you to remain strong in your faith for God. Through the midst of your struggles, remain strong, remain faithful, and that, whatever happens in your life, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. It's not easy. Everybody, faith is on different levels. We are to strengthen our faith, but everybody goes through something in their lifetime, and just remain strong. Don't give up. Get back on the horse. Keep trying. But guys, I encourage you to support me and my channel. I really didn't want to post because I'm afraid that I may not get a lot of views. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I put a lot of effort into this. I'm so sorry that I didn't post a while ago. And don't forget to go check out Comic Historian, which is a comic book. He breaks everything down into digestible bites to help you understand. It's a very great. Everything is just magnificent there. Please don't forget to go check it out. I'm recommending you to his channel. He's a really great guy, very great guy, very great comics. I thank you so much for the unique viewers that I had, the 49 unique viewers that I had. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Even if you don't, that's fine. Thank you.